Hello and welcome to the Blue Water Running Podcast. I'm your host, Maren, and this podcast features and celebrates the achievements of high school and collegiate cross-country and track and field athletes from the Blue Water area of Michigan. You can follow Blue Water Running on Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also find our meet and athlete reports and articles and a recently added merchandise shop at www.bluewaterrunning.org. This podcast is a 2-for-1 special. On episode 31 is Andrea Rheaume, who serves as the head women's cross-country and track coach for St. Clair Community College, locally known as SC4. Then on episode 32, Coach Max Whittredge will focus on the men's program. With Andrea and Max at the helm, the skippers have seen incredible success and growth in their program over the last several years. The women's team was first at the highly competitive MSU Spartan Invite and second in their conference, sending 3 individuals to the national meet, and in 2023, they were 11th overall as a team. The men's team placed in the top 10 at the national meet in 2022, making school history. This year, they were second in the junior college division at the Spartan Invitational, second in their conference, and 12th in the nation. Both programs saw school records set in the last 2 seasons, with the men's record set last year at 25:35 by Glen Davis from Port Huron Northern, who was named the Michigan Community College Athletic Association's Men's Cross Country Runner of the Week twice, and also awarded the U.S. Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Association's National Athlete Award of the Week, the first athlete from St. Clair County to do so for cross country. The women's cross country record was set this year by Lily Lemanski from Marlette at 19 minutes 40 seconds. In the spring, SC4 will launch its inaugural season of track and field, giving local athletes the chance to continue their field event or sprint careers as a skipper. Both coaches will give us some insight into the growth and vision of their programs, the benefits of running for a community college team, and what experiences students can expect as an SC4 student athlete in the cross-country or track and field program. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Blue Water Running Podcast. I'm glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, let's start out by recapping your journey to SC4. So tell us your background as a runner, what you did in your career, and then how you ended up coming to SC4 to coach and becoming part of their program.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a little bit about myself. I'm from the area. I went to Croslex. That's where I graduated high school, ran cross country and track all 4 years there. Just fell in love with the sport during my time and went on to run cross country and track at Spring Arbor University and ran all 4 years there. Really, fell in love with the 800 and kind of found the most amount of success in my personal running career in the 800 during my time in college. And, from that, just wanting to continue to stay engaged in the sport and, moving back to this area, there is an opening to be an assistant coach at SC4 and not really wanting to leave the sport. I applied for a position and started out about 3 years ago now as an assistant coach, and really just fell in love with the coaching side of the sport too, and the relationships that I was able to build with the athletes during my time has really been something special. And this year I had the privilege of moving into a head coach position as SC4 has expanded and has added track to their list of sports that they offer. And because of that, we split the men's and women's cross country and track into kind of 2 separate head coaching positions. So Coach Andrea formerly was the head coach for both men's and women's, and I was her assistant coach. And now she is the women's head coach for cross country and track, and I have the role of men's head coach for cross country and track, and it's been a lot of fun, stepping into that role and getting to develop training plans and kind of just learn a little bit more every day about the sport. And I think that that's been just a privilege to kind of become a student again of the sport and to just continue to learn and take this opportunity that I got. So.
Yeah. Well, I asked Andrea in the previous interview if she was comfortable throwing out some PRs, and she did. So, and she was also an 800-meter runner. So if you want to put yours out there, that's totally your call, but you can.
Yeah. So my personal best in the 800 was a 152, and I know people like times and stuff like that. I always just enjoyed racing. I probably, wish that time was a little bit faster than what it is. But for me, I would say like my greatest accomplishment was placing second at the NAIA indoor championships in the 800. Because it's not always, the fastest times that are run at championships. It's just, being able to show up at the right moment in the season. And that, I very, very fortunate to be able to run at the national meet during my time in college and to place second in that race. So.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that, but you said it. Times don't always mean anything if it's a tactical race, because you may just have to be able to kick to a finish in a spot. So, kind of like cross country too. You might look at a time on paper and go, oh, that's not as fast as I thought it'd be, but a win is still a win. So, and you don't know what the course is like either. When you ran at Spring Arbor, you did an 8K as well, I'm assuming, for cross country. Did you do cross country?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Do you want to put out your 8K PR?
Yeah. So, being a middle distance guy, it took me a little bit to figure the 8K out, but I ended up running a personal best of 25:30 during my time in college.
Yeah, that's a solid time. I also like to ask, did you see a lot of improvement? Because sometimes people say, well, this was my PR in college, but this is where they came from. And when you look at it, it's like, oh, that's a huge growth. It takes quite a few years to figure races out collegiately. So did you run the 800 in high school?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
800 was my main event in high school as well.
Okay. So what was your PR in high school?
So I finished my high school career at the state meet with my best time and went 154 in that race.
So dropping significant seconds in college, that's a lot. I mean, in an 800, dropping anything is hard to do. So it's exciting. And Spring Arbor's had a really good track record of middle distance runners. They've kind of continued that tradition. It's exciting to see that continue. So, well, let's go back to the skippers. They had a fantastic cross country season. The men's team qualified as a team for the national meet. So tell us what that experience was like, any of your main takeaways from that experience, and then maybe some of what you're looking toward as you move into next year's 2025 season.
Yeah. As a coach, being able to see your athletes have success is definitely the most fulfilling thing that you can ask for. And running at the national stage is obviously the highest that you can achieve in your time as a collegiate runner. And being able to send the men's team to the national race was just a privilege as a coach. And just seeing their hard work pay off is, just exciting. And really it just, is a testament to them, because as a coach, I really feel as though your biggest role is to just, encourage. right, and to teach. I think those are kind of the two biggest roles that a coach plays in an athlete's career. Is encouraging them and just believing in them, and then teaching them kind of what the purpose is behind what they're doing. And this team really just had such determination and such belief in the work that they were doing, just such belief in themselves and their teammates, and just really understood kind of what it was going to take to race at nationals and to be able to accomplish that and then show up and have one of the best showings at the national meet that the men's team has had in school history. Is again a testament to this specific team that that we had at SC4 this past year.
Do you have the majority of your team returning next year?
It's pretty split, and that's pretty common at the junior college level. You really kind of tend to see about half the team not coming back the following year, which is it's tough. As a coach, it's tough. As an athlete, it's tough, because those relationships that are so crucial in our sport, and those relationships that are so just that you can often take for granted. They're at the junior college level, they come and go a little bit faster. But I think with that, you really don't take it for granted as much, because your time is finite. You have those 2 years, so you really apply yourself. You really put the work in to kind of get the biggest return in your investment, and that also kind of correlates into the relationships. So this year in particular, I mean, the guys, I think this is probably the closest I've ever seen the team. They really just were a united force in their workouts, in their racing, and then just outside of practice, really building those relationships and building that team dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Are all of your freshmen returning, or are any of them not?
Yeah, so we have, I think all but one of our freshmen are returning. He was coming in only planning to do 1 year, because he was a middle college student. So he ended up getting a lot of his courses and credits out of the way during his time in high school, and only needing 1 year college to get his associates.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep. Well, as you mentioned, track and field is added now to the SC4 lineup for athletics. Obviously, there's going to be some immediate opportunity for someone to make an impact with maybe perhaps a track and field record. Do you have anyone specific on your radar from cross country that you think will maybe make a contribution in a certain event right away?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we have a really good core group of guys that are training hard right now, that I think are going to make a good impact, and are kind of laying a really strong foundation already for future recruits. And that I think that with the guys that we have right now, I think a couple of them that come to mind that I think are really helping lay a foundation for the program are Trent Glass for the 800. I mean, he was a really outstanding 800 runner in high school for Marysville, and I think he is putting in the work right now, and I think he is gonna have great things to show for it during his track season. And I think Acer Campbell, I mean, he just came off of a really strong cross country season and ran SC4's second fastest 8K. And I think, just his strength and his versatility, I think he's going to be a really good track runner for us. And then just our veteran, Ethan McCombs, this is his third year with us as a runner, and he's just showed great improvement all 3 years. And I think the 5K is really just an event that he's going to be able to kind of excel at and lay a good foundation for our future track athletes to kind of just strive to achieve. So
Yeah. What is your cross country record currently?
yeah, so our cross country record was set last year by Glen Davis of Port Huron Northern. He ran 25:35 in his freshman year for the Skippers.
Okay.
Just an outstanding cross country runner, and it was a privilege to get to coach him for one season at SC4, and he's actually gone on to continue his running career at Spring Arbor. So that's been really cool to see him go on and have success at my alma mater. So
Yeah. So Acer Campbell is close, I believe, right, to that record. He's not far off.
Yeah, that's correct. He ran 25:56 this past season. Again, just a really strong time as a freshman.
Yeah, and he dropped a lot of time because I think when I was following from the first meet, a couple minutes, solid couple minutes from the first race. So yeah, that's exciting. And I know him from the BWAC, and he's a hard worker. Like he works. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, really one of the gutsiest runners I've had the honor of coaching, and I mean it's fun when you have an athlete like that just really likes to put their nose to the grindstone and put the work in, and it raises the bar for the rest of the team, and for the other runners, they have to strive to keep up. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, that's good. So as we're looking at SC4, and you mentioned Ethan has run 3 years. How many years of eligibility can you have at a junior college? Because I only thought it was 2, but clearly I am mistaken. So
yeah, so it is only 2.
Okay.
But with some of our programs, like the one that Ethan's in, he's looking to achieve his associates in nursing. That's actually a 3-year program. So he ran his freshman year and then redshirted his sophomore year, and now technically what would be his junior year is running again for us.
Okay, so. I gotcha. Okay, so he's had 2 seasons, just 3 years of school.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Now SC4 has dorms, which are right downtown. They look really nice. That's kind of added a new element to the campus. So you have a lot of students, though, who commute. They live at home, which can be challenging when you're trying to train as a team. So how do you organize and schedule the practices for your athletes who might have a variety of schedules for classes, or maybe live, a variety of distances away in different communities?
Yeah. That's a good question. It is kind of unique, right? Again, being a community college, you do have a lot of commuters. So with us, we primarily practice earlier in the day, which allows for less interference with their class schedules, work schedules. Really, it only interferes with sometimes with your sleep, having to wake up a little bit earlier. But a lot of the athletes, they've come to kind of prefer the earlier morning workouts, just being able to get it out of the way earlier in the day and not have it interfere with any of their other things that they have going on. As a college athlete, you still have a social life, you still have class and schoolwork, and then a lot of them have jobs too. So we've found that those earlier practice times have just allowed for greater flexibility with not interfering with those other things.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you implement as far as building your team culture and your camaraderie to create that team atmosphere? I know you said you had a very close-knit team this year when a lot of them, if not all of them, would live in separate communities and come from different high school cultures of running, and now they're kind of coming together, but they don't live on campus. So what do you do to help build that team unity?
Yeah, I mean, culture and what you kind of want your program to be is huge, right? Um, and as a coach, you play a big part in driving that, but the athletes themselves are kind of the ones that have to shoulder it, right? So as a coach, I look to have the team over for just game nights or dinners to continue to build that uh, team camaraderie outside of practice. And from that, you'd be surprised, how much they take on themselves to get together outside of practice. And really, this year, what what I focused on was just shaping what I want the SC4 cross country program and track program to look like. And that's being a team that is not individualized, but is united. And with that, our team mantra has been iron sharpens iron. Without your teammates and without those around you, you can only achieve so much. And being able to prioritize and focus in on, that team um, element and that team aspect, it really just heightens everybody to be able to achieve more. And that iron sharpens iron type of mindset is really what I think got the team to perform at the level that they did this season, being very selfless in their training and selfless in their racing, and having their teammates be at the forefront of how they carry themselves and how they conduct themselves as athletes.
Well, that's a great segue into my next question, which is, what do you think are some of the greatest advantages of attending a community college like SC4 versus a four-year institution?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton, right? I think probably the most obvious that you're going to hear is the financial aspect of attending a community college. College is not cheap, obviously, and even with athletic scholarship, it can still be expensive. So attending a community college is really just an awesome opportunity to develop as an athlete, develop academically, and get 2 years kind of covered at a really minimal cost for a majority of our athletes. And with those developmental steps that you're taking, it really opens up a lot more that you didn't have presented to you at just graduating high school. Having 2 years of collegiate running underneath your belt, and then going to college coaches and saying, what kind of athletic scholarship do you have for me? The door is a lot wider, and your opportunities are greater. So there's just so many advantages with going to a community college and getting the experience that you just don't get at the high school level, and then being able to see what opportunities open up for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was talking to Andrea about the financial part, and I believe that if you are leaving high school and going to a community college in Michigan, you can apply and have tuition-free education. So I believe that's statewide. I could be mistaken, but that's a really nice plus to have in the back of your mind too. So.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't beat free, obviously.
Right.
And with how expensive college is, it's a really nice perk.
Yep, I'm currently paying for one and soon to be two, so I am very well aware. And yikes. Well, let's talk about recruiting. So, how do you have to kind of alter or change your recruiting efforts, knowing that you're going in to get an athlete who's only going to be there for 2 years? probably will most likely be commuting. So talk about the recruiting aspect and kind of your angle when you talk to an athlete that you want to attend and run for you.
Yeah. I mean, a big aspect of, recruiting at the 2 year college level is, emphasizing that you're utilizing this as a stepping stone, right? You're looking at your time at SC4 as a developmental period where you're, looking to expand as an athlete and to have greater opportunities that follow, right? And really with that, I mean, you get, just a lot of kids that are determined to work hard during their time because they know that if they come put in, solid work at C4 for 2 years, they can have opportunities that they didn't have when they were coming out of high school. So I think that's, a really strong point that I usually try to hit home for a lot of the recruits is just showing them what opportunities can follow their time at SC4. And I think a good mix of kids coming out of high school, can see the positives that come from training hard at a 2 year school, and then being able to continue that at the next level, at the NCAA level or the NAIA level, and just chasing their dreams for another 2 years after that. So it's really cool as a coach to kind of be alongside them in that transition too, and to help network and connect them with other coaches. So
yeah, that's a really good perspective. I hadn't looked at it that way, but that's a huge bonus. And I wonder also if the new NCAA recruiting and roster rules are going to filter some of the kids who might have chosen a different route down a little bit. We were talking about that. Like, we think the NAIA will probably see some of those kids choose to go that route. That's gotten steadily more consistent, on par with D2 and D3. And, as kids are realizing I don't want to go in debt for the rest of my life, or maybe I want to pick a career that's more vocational, let's get an education that's cheaper. And yeah, I think it opens a lot of doors, like you said.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, with the the new roster rules that the NCAA are looking to implement, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if D2 implements those same things pretty soon here. And with that, I mean, yeah, I think it's going to drive a lot of high school athletes to look at opportunities at the NJCAA level and the NAIA level to, have that dream of running in college be continued. And like I said, the 2 year route really helps you kind of set yourself up for that latter half of your collegiate career if you do want to continue to pursue collegiate athletics. So
yeah, and perhaps for some it's a risk-free trial, so to speak, because you aren't committing to a 4-year institution where right off the get-go you have to pay a lot of money, or maybe you're not sure if you want to run and you want to kind of give it a test, try it out. And then if you do, you haven't really put a ton of money in the bank for loans or whatever you had to do. So I think it's definitely a good option.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I think as a high school runner myself, it was one that I don't think was presented to me as much as I probably wish it could have been, because I mean it really is financially a great opportunity, being someone that's still paying off collegiate college debt. I mean, running 2 years at a community college and getting your associate's degree, it really can help in the long run. So
yes, definitely. I'm curious on your opinion about the new recruitment and roster rules. Do you think that they are appropriate and needed and you're in favor of them, or are you opposed and not really a fan?
I mean, selfishly, I don't mind them because it can help, high school runners, want to choose the, junior college route and to develop, as a college runner for 2 years and have those opportunities open up for them. But as a, post collegiate runner, I think that they're only hurting the sport. I really think that I just don't see how it benefits, you know, um, college athletics. I mean, it's athletics is already kind of a hurting sport at the college level, right? A
Hmm.
lot of schools are, cutting track and field, and to then now put roster limits, I think it's not helpful for a sport that really needs to be rejuvenized and kind of you know built back up. I don't think that this is the right direction for the sport personally.
Yeah, I'm of the same mindset. I don't really like it, but whatever, I think it's still going to change the landscape of the sport for good or bad. I think next year and the year after is going to be really interesting to see how that all plays out. There's a lot of chatter about it. I know at the D1 cross country meet, um, they were talking, the coaches were talking about that in the press conference, and they are not in favor. They're not excited about it, especially if they have a winning program. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it makes it tricky. Well, let's talk about what your big picture vision is for both the cross country and track programs moving forward. I mean, I know you have more experience and history with the cross country program, but if you were looking at the big picture, what is, goals or dreams, I guess, that you see ahead of you?
Yeah. I mean, big picture, it's always fun to, kind of dream, and to set goals. As athletes, that's kind of how we work, right? Very goal oriented individuals where we like to achieve and kind of have those standards set for ourselves. So, I mean, as a coach, I operate in a very similar light where I have these ideas and these goals that I would like the team to be able to achieve. And in terms of cross country, I really want a top five nationally ranked team within the next couple of years. I think the team that we had this year and last year are really they've laid a strong foundation for the program to be a team that is regularly showing up at nationals and achieving right around that top 10 finish. And I think that building on that to be a team that is finishing in the top five at nationals is really the goal that I see for the program, and kind of the standard that I would like for us to get to. And I think, like I said, the teams that we've had in the past couple of years have really started that path, and we're just going to be continuing down it. In terms of track, I mean, being a new program, being so fresh. I mean, I really just want to look to build a roster, right? I want
Hmm.
to um, entice high school runners to um, run at the junior college level for track. We've been able to set up a pretty steady recruiting size for cross country, pulling in, um, 10, athletes pretty regularly for our men's roster. And I'm hoping that, really the goal right now is to just get athletes for track to be able to, establish a steady income of athletes like we have for cross country. but, with the athletes that we do have, working hard to, really set up and, set the stage for what this track program could be. Like I said earlier, I mean, we have some really, really strong middle distance guys on the team right now, which as a, former middle distance runner, it gets me excited to be able to coach them and to, see them achieve, some of the goals that we've been laying out. So I really think that they're setting a strong foundation for this program to be a good middle distance program, as we've already started to, pull in a couple really strong middle distance recruits for next year. So
great. What makes SC4? I know there's different divisions for junior college or community college. So what makes SC4 different from D1 for JCO?
Yeah, so interestingly, we're actually going to be kind of in two divisions for our running. So for cross country, we are Division 2, and then for track, we'll be Division 1 because there is no Division 2. There's only Division 1 and 3. And really, what it has to do with is the size of the school and the school's scholarships. So for Division 2, what we can cover is tuition, cost of tuition, and that is kind of what we are able to present to our athletes. And at a Division 3, just like NCAA, they can't present any scholarship. And at the JUCO Division 1, they can do room and board as well. So that's kind of like what separates it, and then the size of the school as well.
Okay. I was just curious because I was unaware that there were separate divisions until this year when I was following your season. Like, oh, okay. So I was just wondering what separated the two. Well, let's talk about you. Do you have a favorite professional runner?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I mean, I have a favorite, I guess, idol of running, which would be like Steve Prefontaine. I mean, a really cliche answer among the running community, but
it's a good answer for a reason.
yeah. And then I guess for current runners, I mean, I really like Drew Hunter of Elite. I mean, what he's done for the sport is really cool. Building, not just building a team, but building a brand in the professional running community. I think as someone that's the same age as me, to be able to see what he's accomplished, it's really cool. And also being a dad myself now, seeing him achieve what he has been achieving the past couple of years as a dad is really cool and just kind of inspiring to me. So I would definitely say Drew Hunter is probably my favorite current runner.
Okay. I know you just had your first child, but before that or after that, is there anything that you'd like to train for as far as a personal running goal? Or maybe you are currently as well right now?
Yeah, so I mean, I do a lot of the runs with the team, and that kind of helps me just stay in shape. But this year I turned 26. So I want to do my first marathon, fittingly enough, 26.2 miles for my 26th year. So that'll be a fun, new, I guess, endeavor with running. I've run a half marathon, and that's kind of the farthest I've done. So, being primarily, a middle distance runner, it's going to be fun to, run some of those longer runs and kind of just see a new side of this sport that I haven't gotten to, which is the cool thing about running, right? As you
Yep.
kind of age up, you can continue to, see new things within the sport and, just kind of fall in love with it in different ways. So this is definitely a new chapter and a new adventure that I'm looking forward to, running the marathon. So
Yeah. Do you have any specific marathon courses that you're interested in doing? Like, do you have one in mind that you'd like to try?
yeah, so I'm gonna do the free press marathon next October. So giving
Okay.
myself a little bit of time to train for it. And I'm a little familiar with the course. I've been out there for the marathon in the past. Watch people. And it's a pretty good course. So I think it's probably a good one to start out with. And yeah, just a good atmosphere that Detroit puts on. So
Yeah. And I think this past fall, it was the first time in history it sold out, which means it's
yeah,
really
yeah.
grown quite a bit. So,
Mhm.
hmm are you going to do over the bridge and through the tunnel?
Yeah, I think for the marathon, that's um I don't know if they have a domestic marathon. I
Yeah,
think
I think you can only do that for the half.
yeah, yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a really cool experience, especially when the sun starts to rise and then running through the tunnel, the world's fastest underwater mile, they call it. I don't think you can do that many places. Belle Isle, is that still part of the course?
Yeah,
Okay.
this past year it was, so I'm
Okay.
assuming it's going to be continued that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that gets a little lonely, but it's still really beautiful. So, yeah, it's a cool way to showcase a lot of Detroit you don't normally see. Running is a great way to discover new places. So, which is a great transition into the next question, which is there anywhere in the world that you would love to take a run that's not the United States?
Okay, so outside the United States,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
mean
I guess you
that's a
could
good
say,
question.
I guess you could say somewhere if you haven't been there. I'm not going to judge you.
Um, Man, I mean, I've always really enjoyed like trail running. I've never done like any trail races or really, done excessive amount of like trail runs. Um, but I've always wanted to do like a run in like Switzerland in like
hmm
the Alps. I think that would be just, really cool to kind of test yourself and probably to see some of the coolest like views that you could on a run. So
Yes.
I'd probably say like running in Switzerland
Yeah.
would be pretty sweet.
Agreed. That is actually at the top of my bucket list. I follow Courtney Dauwalter, who is an amazingly, fantastically successful ultra runner, and she does a lot of mountain running. And so she'll post clips of places she's training. It's just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing to look at. To do that for a job, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah, but her mentality and her body are at a totally different level than most humans. So yeah.
Yes. Ultra marathoners are they're a breed of their own.
They
Yes.
are 100%. Yes. I know we talk about being runners. Well, there's runners and then there's those people.
Yes.
Yeah, they're something different. Well, Max, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your evening, especially your very busy life now with a new baby. And from one SAU 800-meter runner to another, go Cougs.
Yes. Go Cougs. It's been fun talking with you this evening. Thank you for having me and Coach Andrea on the podcast. You know, hopefully this gives a little bit uh, new perspective to some of the high school runners that listen to this about SC4 and what we have to offer. And again, just thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I think it will offer a great light on the benefits that community college has, the culture that you're building, and, like you said, a great segue into a future endeavor, whether it be athletically or academically, and just highlights the success that you guys have brought to the Blue Water area for our college team. So, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you so much for tuning into today's Blue Water Running podcast. I can't wait to feature more cross-country and track and field athletes from the Blue Water area, so stay tuned because it just might be you. Coverage on Blue Water Running is sponsored in part by Elite Feet of Port Huron. If you need running shoes, spikes, or apparel, they have a friendly and knowledgeable staff to help you find just the right fit, and they're big fans of running too. They are located at 327 Huron Ave in downtown Port Huron. If you are interested in sponsoring coverage or partnering with Blue Water Running as an advertiser to reach and support local runners, please reach out via the website, show notes, or social media channels. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please share, subscribe, and leave a review. You can find the Blue Water Running podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and any other major media player. You can also ask your smart speaker to play the Blue Water Running podcast. If you have an idea for a great topic or guest that you would like to hear about, feel free to contact me through the website links or show notes. You can follow Blue Water Running on Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also find meet and athlete reports and articles at www.bluewaterrunning.org.